Hello, and welcome to Feed Your Brain. I am your host, Andrea Paratto. According to the States of Change Project at the Center for American Progress, in 2018, millennials passed baby boomers as the largest generation of Americans eligible to vote. 4 decades of dominance by baby boomers will come to an end. I am joined today by Jean Makesh, CEO of the Lantern Group. Hi, Jean. How are you?
Hi, Andrea. I'm very good. How about you?
I'm good. We're going to talk a little bit about generations today. I hope you're prepared.
My favorite subject.
I bet it is. So how do you think this generational shift is going to change the healthcare industry for those that are living with Alzheimer's disease? And what is our moral responsibility?
I think, I personally, I'm a big fan of the millennials and the Gen Zs. Well, I'm a Gen X. Nothing I've got against Gen X or the baby boomers. The reason I said I'm a fan is because I think they challenge the status quo. Unlike my generation, we were not very consistent with that. I can't really speak for the baby boomers, a little bit older than me. So, but one of the things I'm seeing is the millennials and the Gen Zs are questioning, things.
Yes.
And in my generation, Gen X, we just followed the rules.
We did.
And we never questioned, whatever was told to us, we just did it. So I feel that, coming years and years to come, we definitely will see some change in the long-term care industry, nursing homes, assisted living. I think this generation is going to demand that change, which is a good thing. Change is a good thing. Well, the reason I like what is our moral responsibility? I don't think we as humans, we get up every morning with the intention that, I'm going to do a bad job today. Okay. It's a beautiful day, but I'm going to be the worst I can today. I don't think we get up in the morning or we go through our day. Things happen, situations, circumstances, experiences tend to modify our engagement throughout the day. So when it comes to moral responsibility, I think what I would like to do is I would like to challenge, including myself, everyone, the way we've been caring for seniors with Alzheimer's disease in 10, 15, 20, 30 years, the way we've been designing buildings, the way we've been providing care and services, do you think it is adequate? Is there more we can do for them? Personally, I think we can. Anytime when I look at an Alzheimer, I'm looking at myself. I had mentioned earlier that when I turn 90, there's a good chance I may have the disease. Mm-hmm. Right now, there's a very good chance I may have the amyloid plaques and the neurofibrillated tangles, the tau-containing neurofibrillated tangles. There's a good chance. Though I don't have the symptoms, there's a chance that I may have those brain markers. So when I turn 90, there's a good chance I may have the disease, I may not have the disease, or I would be caring for someone with the disease, or I would know someone with the disease. So it's time for us to do more than what we are doing at this time, because we're doing it for our generation. We're doing it for ourselves.
Right.
We're creating and we're preparing the foundation, the right care, the right services moving forward. So I think we definitely should try to think differently, do things differently. And I believe that there is more we can do.
How can understanding of the human brain change the way that we design, build, and operate care facilities in the future for these up and coming generations?
Brilliant question. Thank you for asking. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the human brain.
Okay.
Let me see. Our brain evolves with time. Our brain grows with time. Our brain expands with time. So the brain that I have is not the same brain that I had when I was a 4-year-old or a 10-year-old or a 20-year-old. Throughout my life, there has been neuroplasticity.
Mm-hmm.
I was able to shape and mold my brain the way I want based on what I subjected my brain to.
Okay.
New learning,
Mm-hmm.
different experiences.
Mm-hmm.
Also, in the last 40 years, my brain has recruited new neurons. There are times I had to learn things that I was not comfortable learning. So birth of neurons, neurogenesis. So the brain that I have today is not the brain that I had 10 years down the road, 10 years before, or 20 years back. So our brains have evolved. Now, the same brain will go through changes with Alzheimer's disease.
Yes.
The disease, the way I describe it is it's like a mushroom. It's a cloud. It's a mushroom cloud. It's a cloud of like the way the mushroom, the disease mushrooms through our brain, and it attacks our hippocampus first. That's where the new memories are formed,
Mm-hmm.
and then it slowly starts, chewing up neurons, eating up neurons, killing neurons. And by the way, the neurons die because it doesn't get enough glucose and oxygen.
Okay.
And I will talk about that later. So the brain that grew and expanded over the last 40 years now, because of the disease process, is also shrinking. It is becoming smaller and smaller and smaller. So now the capacity that I had when my brain was expanded and strong and healthy to process information, to break it down, and convert it to a way that I can read, I can perceive and understand, will change as the brain shrinks. Okay, so it's very important to understand this. So let me use the same example. Let's say that it's me. I have, my brain is shrinking. I have the disease. I'm 90 years old. My brain is not the brain that I had when I was 40 years old or 50 or 60. It's shrinking. It's getting smaller and smaller. So I'm reverting back to my early childhood days. Now, if you have me live in an assisted living facility or a nursing home that I'm not able to relate to, the environment that I'm not able to relate to, the people that I'm not able to relate to, the individuals that I'm not able to relate to, the way you talk to me that I'm not able to relate to. Because in mid 70s and late 70s, the way people talked and engaged, the words that they used is very different than what we use now.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the words, that's the vocabulary, that's the language that I relate to. Because now I'm a 10-year-old.
Right.
Okay. Now, as a 10-year-old, did I live in a hotel-like setting? Did I live in a resort-like setting? Did I have a yard? Did I have a front lawn? Those are the questions that we have to ask. And for the most part, when I'm a 10-year-old, I was exposed to a lot of natural elements. The sunlight, the snow, depending on where I live, the water, the sky, the lawn, the trees. So if I am compelled to live in a place, an environment that I can relate to, then that's going to directly influence my behavior. Now I'm not able to understand where I'm living. I want to elope. I want to run away. I want to get out. This is not the place that I know. I need to scoot. So I'm always looking for exit doors.
Yes.
Exits, doors that can take me out, because I'm not able to figure out. I need to get out. So, me as a developer, a designer, it's important for me to really understand the disease process and also create opportunities based on what I think my client can relate to, my senior can relate to. So bringing those natural elements inside, bringing certain elements that my senior may have been exposed to or used to, having that setup or that kind of arrangement or setting, I think is very important. The way I behave, the way I present myself is influenced directly by the environment, the surrounding that I'm in.
Right.
The chances of you screaming and yelling, in a spa is slim.
Right.
When you don't get the service that you're expecting for, yes, you may get upset. But, a spa is very calming, very tranquil, very serene. So there's a reason, because that's where after a nice facial or a massage, you rest well, all those therapies that you receive, you feel rejuvenated, re-energized. So the environment that we live in is very, very important. And it's so important for me as a developer, as a designer, to really, really pay attention to every little thing that I would place around a senior, especially the one if they have Alzheimer's disease. And so in my designs, I always like to add natural elements that would be therapeutic, because to me, my memories are the best, or for me to recall something that I forgot will be at its prime when I'm less anxious, I'm less agitated, less frustrated, less annoyed, where I'm in an environment, I don't really have to worry about processing information from the environment that I'm not able to relate to. See, you and I, it doesn't matter where we are processing information.
Right.
We have 5 senses, right? Our senses are processing information. Even right here in this space, I'm looking at bottles of water. I'm looking at the coffee maker, the coffee cups, all of that. I've seen it, and it's processing. My brain is processing. There's a very good chance, after this interview, I may want to have a cup of coffee because I saw a coffee maker. The urge to have coffee is there for me. My brain has processed it. So there's a lot of things that we pick and we learn from the surroundings, both voluntarily and involuntarily, and the brain processes that information. So it's critical that the environment that we create, and I think that's where I go back. I think we have a moral responsibility. If we decide to be in this industry as a designer, as a developer, as an operator, as a caregiver, as a care provider, I think it is so important. Every one of us have a moral responsibility. As a designer and as a developer, it is my responsibility is to ensure that I create spaces that my clients can relate to, that would make them less anxious, less agitated, less depressed, is more therapeutic, so that I can leverage the space, their immediate surroundings, to facilitate probably new learning.
Okay.
At the same time, also help with memory recall.
Okay. And overall reduce a lot of stress.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
So do you think that the children today, and when they are in their elder years and they may develop Alzheimer's disease, the design of buildings for them is going to be much different than we are thinking that they would be for our elders today?
Yeah, I think so. Going back to my comment about the millennials and Gen Zs, those two generations are very, very function oriented, very outcome oriented. They're always looking for what they can do for the world to influence the larger good. They're the change makers.
Okay.
Right? That's why I get excited about these two generations. Not that I'm not excited about my generation, the generations prior to me. We did our part.
Right.
And we did it effectively. We've been successful. Our contributions have been plentiful, and has created riches and wealth, both knowledge-wise and financially. So no regrets at all. But the new generation, I think they want to see value.
Yes.
And they want to see what they can do to change people's lives. And I think design is one aspect of it when it comes to our industry. And I also think that they will also compel and force change on the caregiving side, and also on the care receiving side. See, to me, I think caregiving and care receiving should be like music. There should be rhythm. The caregiver should enjoy providing care, and the care receiver should enjoy receiving care. They have to be in sync. I think they create music, and it's so much fun. The care provider goes home, the caregiver goes home, thinking that I did something, I was able to change the world, I was able to make an impact, I was able to bring about a change.
Yes.
Very important. More than anything, more than money, more than anything, feeling of self-worth.
Yes.
Able to contribute and be useful to the society. Doesn't matter. Every human has that, and sometimes we're not able to, we express it in very different ways. Sometimes it can also come in a very negative manner. We all have that. And at the same time, the care receiver, especially a senior or an individual with Alzheimer's disease, they also are looking to, we as humans, we're always wanting to trust and wanting to bond. So when the caregiver understands the care receiver's rituals, understands the care receiver's, life patterns, how they live their life, then the caregiver is able to dive into the care receiver's world. The care receiver will receive the caregiver into their world with open arms, because now they can relate to the caregiver and they both create music. And I think in so many ways, that is that moral responsibility. Every one of us have a moral responsibility. Even I shouldn't use the word even. I think it's very important. Everyone is a caregiver surrounding that individual. Someone that keeps the room clean, the housekeeper. Someone from maintenance that maintain the space. They play a huge role. The impact that care receiver's life. So-and-so is a housekeeper. So-and-so is in laundry. So-and-so is in maintenance or in the kitchen. And no, their role should not be minimized. Never minimized. When it comes to caring for someone with Alzheimer's disease, there's no hierarchy. Of course, there is hierarchy for reporting reasons. But everyone has, right from the physician to nurse to caregiver, dietary, housekeeping, maintenance, they all activities, greeter in the front reception, they all play an equally important role. And if we are able to create that music, and I that's why I talk about in my book about moral responsibility. We are morally responsible for that individual's, not existence, not simply them living. They should thrive. See, you and I, we didn't plan. Do you plan to live in an assisted living facility when you get old? That was not part of a retirement.
It was not part of my plan.
Exactly.
But it could happen.
It could happen, right? So I am working hard to gather enough resources to live a good life when I retire.
Right.
A good retirement is where I'm able to have the same lifestyle that I did when I was working. That is a good retirement. You don't want when you get older, you don't want your lifestyle to go one or two notches down.
Right.
Right. So I'm not retiring thinking that I'm going to be in a nursing home or in an assisted living. That is not part of the equation. So the clients that we care for, they are here in our building, not because they want to be there.
Right.
See, it's very important to understand. So it becomes my moral responsibility to ensure that anything and everything that we do, we create for their pleasure. And it's about thriving. We are working so hard today, sometimes 10 hours a day, 12 hours a day, hoping that we'll retire and when well.
Yes.
And when we retire, we not just live or get by, we thrive.
Right.
We thrive. Thrive is very important. Thriving is very important. So I think that's where the moral responsibility comes in my mind.
Okay. Well, thank you for that.
Thank you, Andrea.